Hello, good afternoon, sir. My name is Okoh. My name is Okoh Bartholomew. Before I start, I want to sincerely apologize for my late presentation of my project. Although it's due to unforeseen circumstances. It has been ready since February, but the my laptop has issue. So it is now that I'm just fixing the laptop and all of that. So this is my second project, and the topic is the challenge facing the implementation of environmental impact assessment, the EIA, in rural communities in Nigeria. And my focus is on lack of awareness, corruption, and poor monitoring. All right, my name is Okoh Bartholomew, Chelsea. 3 environmental impact assessment, and that is the topic. All right, this is my acknowledgement, my declaration, and my table of contents. So I will just go to the executive summary. Environmental impact assessment is an important tool used to identify and minimize the negative effects of development projects on the environment before they are carried out. In Nigeria, the Environmental Impact Assessment Act of 1992 make it compulsory for major development projects to undergo environmental assessment before approval. Despite this legal framework, the implementation of environmental impact assessment in many rural communities remain weak. So this study examined 3 major challenges affecting effective implementation of environmental impact assessment in rural Nigeria: lack of awareness, corruption, and poor monitoring. All right, and the study included that improving public awareness, strengthening transparency, and enhancing monitoring mechanisms are necessary to ensure sustainable development and environmental protection. All right, this is the introduction, which is my number one, the background of the study. The environmental degradation has become a major concern in Nigeria due to rapid industrialization, urbanization, mining, oil exploration, and road construction and agricultural expansion. Many of these projects affect rural communities where people depend directly on natural resources for their livelihood. Environmental impact assessment is a planning tool designed to predict environmental impacts before project implementation. It helps governmental agencies, investors, and community make informed decisions that protect both the environment and public health. Although Nigeria has an established environmental impact agency, a legal framework, implementation, and rural community remain ineffective due to several challenges. And this is my problem statement. All right, despite legal mandate, the Environmental Impact Agency implementation in rural areas is upheld and leading to environmental degradation, that is soil erosion and pollution. Many development projects continue to cause pollution, land degradation, deforestation, and displacement of local communities because the environmental impact procedure are poorly implemented. Rural communities often have little knowledge about their environmental rights, while corruption and inadequate monitoring further weaken compliance with environmental regulation. The aim of my studies, number one, although the aim is to examine the challenges facing the implementation of environmental impact assessment in rural communities in Nigeria. And my aims are, number one, to explain the concept of environmental impact assessment. Number two, to identify major implementation challenges. Number three, to examine the effect of lack of awareness. What the lack of awareness, the effect. This what it might cause to the public, and also to assess the impact of corruptions. Then number five, to evaluate poor monitoring practice. And the last but not the least, is to recommend practical solution. All right, the scope of my study. The study focused on rural communities across Nigeria with emphasis on lack of awareness, corruptions, and poor monitoring. And my limitation is that the study relies mainly on published literatures, reports, and policy documented due to limited access to field data. Because of I can't tour around most of the villages, so my study was on published literature, something a write-up that are available online on the site of the EIA, and reports and policy that have been documented. Okay, so my second chapter, which is my literature review, the concept of environmental impact assessment. Environmental impact assessment is the process of evaluating the likely environmental consequence of a proposed project before decisions are made. So the objective of the EIA include environmental protection, number one, sustainable development, public participation, better decision making, and prevention of environmental damage. All right, these are my theoretical framework, but I would like to jump to number three, which is the methodology. This is a text-based review using secondary source like academic journals, governmental documents, and reports. Quantitative synthesis of findings from survey and the case studies in rural Nigeria. Data analysis involve thematic identification of recurring barriers. And one of the reasons I use secondary source is because of lack of field work, because it's not primary, it's secondary, it's work other people has worked on, gather resources to make my own research. So my finding and discussion. So the first thing, which is also part of my focus, is lack of awareness and the corruption, and the other one. So the first one is a lack of awareness. So one of the greatest challenges that is facing the environmental impact, the implementation in rural Nigeria, is lack of public awareness. Many rural residents do not know what this means. They are not aware of their environmental rights. Some are not even been informed before project begins. And other have little education on environmental protection. So as a result of this, community cannot participate effectively. Number two, environmental complaints are not reported. And the last one is harmful projects continue with oppositions. All right, what are the effects? Number one, increase environmental degradation. Number two, water pollution. Number three, loss of farmland. Number four, health problems. And number five, community conflict. All right, the second one is, which is this corruption, because I have three focus. Second one is corruption. So corruption is another major obstacles. So some forms include some of the corruption is that people collect bribe during project approval. It can be from the person giving the project or the person embarking on the project. And also political interference. There are some politicians, some senators, big men that want to interfere in some of all these projects. And manipulation of the EIA report. And number four is approval of project without proper assessment. The person approving the project did not assess what is happening in the community, some of these rural areas. And some consultants may prepare false report to satisfy project developers instead of presenting the actual environmental risk. So what are the effects of all of these things? Number one is the number one is weak enforcement. Number two, illegal project approval. Number three is environmental destruction. Number five, loss of public confidence. And poor monitoring, which is the third focus. I have three focus, which I've talked about two. This is the third one, poor monitoring. These ensure developers comply with environmental conditions after proper approval. However, monitoring in rural Nigeria is often weak because of inadequate funding. Number two, shortage of environmental officers. Number four, poor transportation. Number five, lack of monitoring equipment. And the last one is weak institutional capacities. So what are the effects? There will be a continued pollution, deforestation, soil erosion, unsafe water disposal, and declining biodiversities. All right, and what are the environmental implications for implementation of the EIA? Leads to air pollution, water contamination, land degradation, flooding, loss of wildlife, climatic change impact, and social implication. Then the community will experience poverty, displacement, there will be health challenge, there will be reduced in agricultural productivities, and conflict between companies and host communities. You often see the conflict between them, and because there is poverty in destroying their land, is a challenge to their health, so there will be a conflict between the host communities and also the companies. Then what are the effects on the economies? Number one, there will be a loss of livelihood, reduced farm income, increased healthcare costs. The money they are spending, because they often fell sick, so it increase the money they spend on their health. Then reduce investment confidence. Then most costly environmental restoration. Then one of the policy, then my conclusion and recommendation. Number one, the government should conduct